Hi, so this is You versus You, designing puzzles where you play against yourself. So my name is Gonen, but online I'm known as dietzribi on all social media you can imagine and on Steam. I've been making games for around 20 years now, and I went full-time indie in 2018. Uh, I made a bunch of games, like free web games that you can play on itch.io or on Newgrounds that usually I make with my brother, and I really like weird mechanics in my games. And my first Steam game is called 2D and Top D, which also is a pretty weird mechanic. You're like it's a hybrid of a 2D puzzler, of a 2D platformer and a top-down puzzler. Like that's why it's called like that. And the perspective switches between the two characters, and all the rules of the game bend to that perspective. And my most recent game is called the Deep Snake. It's also on Steam, but it's free and it's Snake, but it's like non-Euclidean and has this fractal nature, and it's pretty weird. And now I'm working on a game called UvsU, like You versus You, so UvsU. That's I had to add the subtitle because no one would get the name. And it's a game where you play against yourself. So that could go on like you could go and do that like in a lot of different ways. Games where you play against yourself. But I'm going to show the way that I did it and like some of the design problems that I encountered and how I solved them. So it's a puzzle platformer again, and the way that it works is you play as this angel that is labeled U for this talk's sake, and you need to reach this symbol before time runs out. And then uh, you switch roles and you become a devil that needs to kill the angel before time runs out or it reaches the goal. And then you switch roles again and you're playing as the angel again, and now you need to reach the symbol, but now you need to make sure that you don't get killed by this devil that you played previously. And all of the I'll just let it run again in the background. Like all of the actions that are performed are recording of your previous inputs. So when you play as the devil now, the what the angel does is like replaying the inputs of your previous round, and that's how it works, so on and so forth. Uh, okay, so that works, but now what? Like, how do you make a puzzle game out of that? So what I did was add like very simple mechanics, like weighted button that you push, that you press on, and then it toggles these platforms that appear and disappear, or gems that you can shoot that also they toggle platforms. And it's all color coded, like very simple stuff, but that alone added a huge space for puzzles, like in the context of playing against yourself. And let me show you an example. So in this level again, first iteration, you have to get to the angel. You play as the angel, and you have to get to the symbol. And now, like he's working on this blue platform, and now it switches roles to the devil again, and he can't do anything. He's like in this confined space, but he can shoot the gem, and then the this blue bridge triggers and disappears, and the angel dies. So you can also kill the angels like indirectly by like triggering something. Um, Here's a more complex example. Like this is when I designed this level, I was like, okay, there's something here. Like this idea is cool. So when you played as the angel in the first iteration, you just walked straight to the symbol and it was easy. But now when you're with the devil, like you find yourself in the problem because you can't do anything except shooting this red gem and you're stuck. So you might think, okay, maybe if I shoot the gem and the angel gets stuck and he never reaches the goal, then it counts as a win. But no, it doesn't. You have to kill the angel. So I'll let you just think about it for a little bit before I spoil the answer. But you might notice that in the bottom floor there are these spikes here. and that's basically the only thing that can kill the angel in this level. So what you do is you and like the top floor and the bottom floor are symmetrical; they are the same layout. So if you wait a little bit on the red platform and then it disappears, now the angel notice that it repeats the inputs of the previous iteration, not the positions. So because it repeats the inputs and the same inputs in the same layout but in a different place, get him to it ends up dying by the spikes. And then the last iteration is just a victory lap. So the way that it always works in the game is you start as the angel, you need to reach a goal, then you switch roles to a devil that needs to kill the angel, then you switch roles back to the angel. And in some levels, there are more than one devil. So the angel always overwrites itself, like the previous rounds. When you play as the angel, you always overwrite your previous inputs, the recordings. But when you're playing as the devils, every devil is a different one. Like you might have one devil in one spot in the room, but when you are if a level has more than one devil, then the next devil will be in a different position, and the previous devil will just completely run the same recording as the first time you played it. And it always ends up, you always end by, like, after you activated all the devils and they all have the recordings, you play as the angel and you need to, like, handle everything that happened. And what's interesting about this setup is you have to do something different as the angel every time. Like if you will repeat the exact same inputs that you did previously, then you are guaranteed to get killed by the devil. Um, yeah, like or if it's similar enough. So something that I wanted to talk about is like the in puzzle platformers, like the element of puzzle solving against like platforming and like precision and the reflex-based skills. So in my first game, 2D and Top D, it was very difficult both in the puzzle solving area and both in the platforming area. And for this game, I had a different vision. Like I wanted it to be a lot more emphasized on the puzzle solving. Like I wanted that if you understand the solution, you will succeed in the first or second try max. Like it would be easy to execute. Like I want the challenge to come from the puzzle solving and not from the platforming. So you might ask yourself, why have a timer? I mean, a timer is clearly something that induces like stress, and you have to do something under like in a time constraint. Is a lot. It definitely has some uh, reflex component to it, but I'll explain why it works in this setup a lot. Like it had to work this way. Unless you can think of something else that I didn't think of. So why timer? So from the point of view of the player, it keeps the rounds short. So in a game like this, where you play the same level multiple times, and I'm not even talking about dying and retrying it, just the nature of the game is that you play every game for a few rounds. So for it not to be as exhausting, having short rounds is important. Like if you have to redo a round or something, you don't lose like half an hour of of work. Uh, Another thing is that it also like sets up some sort of expectation or hint for the level. So if it's a very short, 3-second level, you know that you can't do a lot of stuff here. Like probably I won't make the trip for all of these different places in the room. I have to go straight to the ending or whatever. And another thing is that it encourages you to think before you act. So uh, the rounds only start while you start pressing buttons and moving, and until that happens, the game is frozen and you have time to think. And if you wouldn't have that, then you could get these awkward runs where one of your previous iterations just stops and not doing anything because you stopped and thought like, what am I going to do now? So it encourages you to think beforehand and then, like, realize what the solution, what the problem is, how I'm going to solve it, and only then act. Uh, and from my standpoint as a developer, it gives me a lot of control about how the level is going to play out, like the sequence of events. Like if the level is 10 seconds, I know you have to do this and that, and this one takes 5 seconds, this one takes 3 seconds, so you only have extra 2 seconds to do something. And if you're not going to do that in the first 2 seconds, then you're going to fail. So and another added bonus is that I don't have to worry about like running out of memory, because you can't just sit in there for hours and hours and spam inputs that I record. So that's another added bonus. I'll just show an example from a level here. So in this level, there's like a vine blocking the way, and you only have 3 seconds. So you shoot the vine and you continue to go, and you fall down, and the level ends. And you don't have a lot of space here to wait or do other things. You just have to run for it. And then as the devil, you shoot the angel like really in the last moment after the vine is already gone. And then in the last iteration, if you don't shoot the vine, then the devil shoots the vine and it doesn't kill you. Uh, there's other solutions to this level, but I'm not going to get into it. But if there wasn't a timer, see how that looks. Like the player can just, as you're playing the first iteration as the angel, you can just hang out in this part of the level, not do anything, wait a little bit, shoot the vine, wait more, go to the symbol in the end. And now when you're playing as the devil, you can also like uh, wait a little bit, don't do anything hard, do not make it hard on yourself, just leave room for you to just run for it in the end. So now, because you override the inputs of the first iteration, and the devil is just waiting for you to do something until it kills you. So it also took a lot of time. And then you have this, in the last iteration, you have room to just run immediately and ignore everything that happened in the level. And this scales pretty well to a lot of levels, like this thing. So that's why the timer was crucial. But the timer alone didn't solve all of my problems. And I'm going to show another problem and how I solved it. Um, it's another problem that's based on timing. So the idea in this level was the player would jump over these red pillars, and the devil would like cooperate with him by pushing the button back and forth, so the platform that the angel needs to land on is active, and then you just do it again in the end. But the point of the level is the devil goes on and off the red button, and the angel is jumping from platform to platform. So that's the idea. As you can see, it works pretty well, but it doesn't because look what you can do. Uh, you can go just walk to the other side, wait there for a few minutes, not minutes, moments. You don't have minutes in this game. And then when you're playing as the devil, you can just not shoot the blue gem immediately. You wait until the angel gets to the other side, and only then you shoot the gem, you kill the angel, and now the angel can just run for it without waiting. Without waiting in the other side, I mean. So the timer here didn't solve the problem. Um, and the problem is that I need a way to enforce a change in the level immediately. Like even the smallest change, like activating a tiny wall, could force the player to go from a completely different route, for example. And that opens up a lot of space for puzzle design. So I'm going to show you a few solutions that I thought of and what the problem with them was, and the solution that I came up with that I went with in the end. So one possible solution was to design the levels around the issue. So for example, in this level, I could maybe add some sort of like a maze or a long path that the devil would have to shoot the blue gem right in the beginning. Otherwise, they wouldn't have time to reach like the space of the level where I want him to push the button, but then I have to have another button along the way because that's otherwise it will take a long time until this whole red platforms appearing and disappearing starts happening. So the angel will have to wait and account for that weird thing. Maybe there's a better solution for it. But generally the problem with this idea of like designing the levels around that, uh, it turns the levels sometimes into like a reflex based on reflexes and precision, which is what I don't want. Like if now I have this maze that you have to do perfectly one mistake and now you won't have time to do it, it's just not what I want. Um, Another problem is that it's really difficult to design for like every level. So like I have an idea, I start to design it, and then oh, what if I just don't do anything and wait? So it it means that I need to come up with a different like solution for every level that has this some sort of add a maze or whatever, something that will make everything be exactly on time. So it just makes the levels a lot more difficult to design. And it also adds like unnecessary complexity. Like the point of this puzzle was the cooperation between pushing the buttons and jumping over the platforms, not about like running through a maze in a perfect manner. So yeah, so that's why I didn't uh, go with that. Uh, Another possible solution is to have different layouts for every round. So let's say, for example, I don't need the blue gem and the blue wall. I'll have here some sort of a special other kind of platform that has like the iteration numbers on it, and if an iteration is circled, then the platform appears, and otherwise it doesn't appear. Um, so the problems with that is first of all, it's hard like to communicate. Like you have to see all those numbers. What if the platform is smaller? What if there are few platforms? So each one of them is active on like different. It's like hard to communicate and like grasp all of that information. Uh, Another thing is that like it adds spoilers to the level. Like okay, you see this and you're already why does it why does this platform only appears in the first iteration and not the second and the third one. So it makes you think, and then you already it spoils the level in some way, and it's just yucky. Like it's very out of place. It's very like not elegant, not natural, and we don't like that. So what do I do? What do I do with that? The solution that I came up with was this spikes that like are timed and they toggle every 2 seconds. Very, you can see them in almost every platformer, uh, but it solves all of my problems. Let me show you how. So now the devil is like confined in the same space, but it has these toggle spikes there, and he has 2 seconds to get out of there. If he doesn't get out of there in 2 seconds, then he's dead and the iteration is over. So yeah, that forces you see it forces him to shoot the gem quickly, and now the change is it's already happened. So that solves my problem, and it works very well in a lots of levels. So like I'll just go through all the stuff that worked well here. So it's really simple. Like they're on and off. You meet them in almost every game. They're a familiar mechanic both in this game and both from other games. Uh, like you've seen before in every platformer. It doesn't really feel out of place. It's not like something that I like tailored specifically to for this problem. It's just like timed spikes. You have them all around, like they really fit the world and everything. And it's a pretty like general solution. Like it worked for me in lots of levels when I designed them, and then I started the playtesting, and I saw, oh wait, now I can just wait and it breaks the level. throw a bunch of time spikes, and it fixed the problem. So yeah, you will see this in more than one level in the game, quite a few actually. That's it. That was my talk about like the some issues that I encountered. You can find me on every social media at dietzribi, or send me an email at dietzribi at gmail.com. And feel free to wishlist UvsU on Steam and check out the free demo.
Definitely, everybody go wishlist the game and go play the demo. I remember playing a demo of the game. How long ago was it? Probably like 2 or 3 years ago now.
That was the gem version. Like
The
there's
jam
the
version, right? Yeah, and it looked very different back then. Like the new art
yeah.
style looks very good, and there was some appreciation in the comments in the chat about the new art style. It's very cool. We did get a couple of questions, so if you're happy to take a couple of questions, we can do that
Yeah,
now.
sure.
Cool. So Jagriff was asking an interesting technical question, which is, did you run into any loop inconsistency bugs where perhaps due to like frame timing, the copied inputs didn't quite play out exactly the same way as they did the first time? Is that something you encountered, or has it not been a problem?
So I thought I did. Like
Mm.
actually in the level that I showed here, where you had to make the angel end up in the spikes.
Hmm.
But it ended up not being that. It was the two layouts just weren't completely identical.
Oh, I
There were a
see.
few, so I thought it. But yeah, I mean, I implemented it like the most simple way you can. It just records every single input you or every single like button you press in every frame. I know I
Hmm.
can like improve it a lot, but went with it for the gem version and I just ran with it because I didn't encounter any problems yet. Uh, so yeah, actually, I didn't encounter because it's so simple. It just repeats every single frame. It has like all the which buttons are pressed and which buttons aren't. I didn't even only record changes. It just literally has an array of inputs pressed throughout the entire level. So having that so simple, I didn't encounter any bugs. I thought I did, but it wasn't in the, it wasn't in the input. It was just the layouts weren't completely similar,
It
completely
wasn't time.
identical.
It wasn't time that was wrong. It was space that was wrong
Yeah,
slightly.
exactly.
Okay, cool. So the next question. This is. I might rephrase this question slightly. It's almost like thinking about other ideas that might even come up in the actual game. So feel free to be like, no comment. But the question was about like, what if there was a third character that has another objective to do? Have you explored that, or do you want to say nothing?
Actually, no. So
Okay.
like so far, no, I don't have that. Like I
Okay.
didn't. I thought about all kinds of other stuff, but a third character, like with a different objective, no.
Mhm.
But there are like levels in the game where you have more than two characters. Like just the devils can come in multiples. Like you can
Yeah.
have two or three devils.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's not an extra character with a different objective,
Yeah.
just more iterations of the two angel and devil. Okay. Cool. We got another question through just now as well from Brain of Cubes, which is. What design challenges arose from structuring a puzzle platformer as a non-linear exploration game as opposed to a linear level-based game? I guess that's something you haven't covered in this talk, but yes, you've gone for a non-linear design, haven't you? So yeah.
Yes. So you need to like the challenges are because right now I didn't cover it in the talk, but now instead of just being level based, you are in this open world where you get to puzzles and you play them.
Mhm,
I guess it's very not unique to my game because there are a lot of like open world puzzle games.
mhm,
But the challenge is how to make sure that you don't end up in a puzzle that you're like a lot more difficult than just if you can go wherever you want, and it's not the case. Like I
mhm,
mean, I block some of your way, and you need to solve a few of the first puzzles before you go on, etc.
mhm,
So yeah, but since I'm trying to to make it like not completely linear, so I just have to make sure that the I guess the level of difficulty of the levels that you can reach at a certain point are similar. Like that
mhm,
you don't. If you're just starting out the game, I don't want you to be able to get to like the most difficult level in the game.
mhm.
Uh,
So
So
I've got a follow-up question there. So because I haven't seen how it works as a open world game yet, do you have any or like have you had to work around the whole thing of like in an open world game when you enter a puzzle, like what state is that puzzle in? Like how do you like initialize the puzzle, or are you like are your puzzles kind of separate from the overworld and you kind of jump into them? How does that work?
So the way that it works right now, but I'm not promising it might change because it's
Okay,
something that
cool.
changed quite a few times until how it is today, and it still might. I have thoughts of changing it again,
Okay.
but the way that it works right now is that uh, you get to like a puzzle room, but it's blocked, and in order to activate it, you have to stand like near this statue of an angel, and you press a button, and
Mm-hmm.
then it opens up and it locks like the doors
Okay.
around you, and then the puzzle activates.
Okay, so then you know that's exactly the initial state of your puzzle. So they're kind of embedded in the
Yeah,
world, but you know that when you're entering it, it's like in it's the initial
yeah.
like pure state. Nothing's messing it up. Okay, cool, awesome. I think we'll leave that there. So thank you so much for that presentation. Any
Thank
other
you,
questions? Please take them to the Discord, thinkygames.com/discord, and Gonan will be there to answer those questions. So yeah, thank you once again, Gonan.
thank you.
Thank you.